Alright guys, welcome back to another episode here on Grow the Earth. Before we get started with our video today, I want to invite you to go and visit my other media pages. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're also on Rumble, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and I've also got a Facebook group. Now all these links are right here below me, and there are some things that if you're watching me on YouTube that you're not seeing if you're not visiting my other pages. Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble have all got extra videos that you're not seeing here. Also, if you are on Facebook, go join my Facebook page. We've got a bunch of different people there that can answer a bunch of questions for you. You know, you're able to actually have access to me directly to where you can ask me questions if you need to. And you can find all the information that you need to know to grow your garden better. So now let's get on with the video. Alright guys, today we're going to be planting kale. Now we have three different types of kale, and the type of kale matters on how compact and how many plants you're going to be able to get into a square foot area. Like the scarlet kale. The scarlet kale is a more compact plant. It's not quite as productive, but it has a very different flavor than our other kales that we have here. And that means that we can plant more of this in a smaller square footage. We're going to be planting the red Russian kale, which is a larger kale, as it has a red stem. And then we have our blue curly kale, which is going to go here, which regularly, the Russian and this curly blue, they regularly get 2 foot tall whenever they're really going good. So we've only got 2 small rows here of the blue. We've got 2 small rows here of the red Russian, and we're going to have 3 of the scarlet down here because it's a more compact plant, and we know that we can get more in that smaller area. Now, because these plants are a green, it means that they're not going to produce any fruit. So we need to make sure that we have enough nitrogen in the ground to support all of this greenery that is going to grow. And in order to do that, we're going to make sure that we put enough fertilizer in the ground to support all that. Now, will these plants grow without this fertilizer? Absolutely. There's enough nutrients in the ground to do that, but adding this fertilizer is going to really make them grow and pop and not be stunted. And of course, as if you've watched my videos before, you know that we use the MicroLife Ultimate. This is the one true organic fertilizer that I truly believe in. It's grown everything that we've ever planted wonderfully, and this has mycorrhiza in it, which is a very beneficial fungus to plants. It actually attaches to the roots and acts like a miner to bring in nutrients to those plants. So it has a symbiotic relationship with your plants. They help the plants grow well, and the plant helps them. So we're going to confine this pretty much to where we're going to plant the plants. I don't really need to do the whole bed and get it all over the place because that's not where these plants are going to grow. So we're just going to come through and we're going to kind of sprinkle it along where we're going to plant at, and this is going to do the good job of marking out our rows real well too. And again, we don't have to worry about throwing down too much or if our seeds come in contact with it or anything else, because it is a slow release organic fertilizer, so it's not going to overwhelm these plants and make them, you know, burn them or anything else. So these are much like everything else you're going to plant in your fall season. These are a very, very small seed. So we're not going to plant these very deep at all because kale, like most of your greens, is what they call a broadcast spreader. As the plant goes to seed in the summertime, the seeds just fall off and basically land on the ground. And then as the plant dies, it basically covers it up. So we're not looking for, you know, a 1/2 inch or anything like that. We're just looking for a quarter of an inch, just like with most of the other greens and so forth that we grow at this time of year. So because these are very small, we're going to pour them into our hand here. We're just going to sprinkle just a couple of seeds. You know, these, the good thing about kale, and like most other greens, is they are not very picky about growing next to each other. They will find their own way, and they will live more compact than other plants. Some other plants, whenever they get too close together, they actually start competing with each other. And kale and your lettuce and things like that, they don't tend to do that. They just kind of they're more social, I guess is the best way to put it. And they will just move out of the way and let the other one grow and so forth. You may have some shading out, but all in all, they will cohabitate together a little bit better than, say, a carrot. Carrot is a very singular plant. It doesn't like to have a lot of competitors around it. It wants to grow in the space that it needs. And if you start crowding it with another plant or with you know, hard dirt or things like that, it just plain will not grow. It will pretty much give up on life, and at the very best, you'll get a bunch of greenery, but no root. So like I said, that's the scarlet kale, which is a much smaller compact plant, which is why we have 3 rows there. And with this red Russian and with the dwarf blue curly vates, we are going to only plant 2 rows of these, because we know from experience that these get to be quite a large plant, and they will completely take over a bed. We are going to plant them quite close, because they will move out of the way of each other and so forth. Like I said, kale is a very social plant. Doesn't mind being right up next to something. But if you have something that is less competitive next to it, it will shade it out, and it will cause it to have issues. So again, like these other plants, the seeds, we want to cover them up and pat them down really well, because air is the enemy of our seeds. And we're just going to move right on down and do our green kale. Now again, as with most of these fall vegetables these fall greens that we're planting, once it starts getting cold, and especially if you are really prone to a frost in your area, these things get exceptionally sweet after a frost. It has to do with the plant going into almost a survival mode, and it sends a bunch of sugars up to help preserve the leaves. And when that happens, we get the benefit of a very, very sweet kale that is unlike anything that you can buy in the store. Now again, we don't want to cover these up and plant them too deep at all. We want to make sure that we're just covering them with a light layer of soil, and that when we pat them down, we're getting all that air out. So we're going to have a nice harvest of kale here. Our friends, our family, because these are like they are social, they are definitely a shareable crop. These things are going to produce and give and give and give, because when we go to harvest these, you don't harvest the whole head at one time. You don't harvest the whole plant. you harvest from the bottom up, and that is why you'll get a tall, almost 2 foot tall plant, because as you harvest, it continues to grow up as like a stalk, and it will continually give and give and give. Now that's the purple kale, the scarlet kale. The green kale almost grows like spinach, to where it grows out of a center crown, where it goes up and out like this. So you would harvest the outside leaves towards the center, and you would leave the center alone to keep the plant alive. Now with these kales, some of these plants will go straight into summer before they actually go to seed. Last year we had kale on the end of one of our beds, and because it was on the end of the bed that didn't get as much sun, we finally tore it out because we needed the bed space to plant other vegetables. And it never went to seed at all. It never got, lanky or anything. We just plainly took it out because it was time for it to come out so we could plant our summer vegetables. So, guys, as always, I ask you to pray over your family, pray over your garden, and have a great day.